Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Please ask that you like and subscribe if you find these videos useful. Today I'm going to be talking about bacterial infection in diesel, or also known as diesel bug. And what happened is I've had a old vehicle come in, diesel obviously. It's been sat for about 20 years and the owner couldn't get it started, so I wanted to know why. I've been through the system and what I found is it's got diesel bug, but this doesn't just apply for cars, it can go for anything with a diesel engine, old tractors, and especially in marine, it's a big problem. So let's take a look at it, causes and how we can prevent it, treat it. So I've got here the lift pump. I can pull that apart and you can see inside it's like a treacle. You see that? And this lift pump had a glass bowl filter on it as well. I don't know if you can see inside of there, but that's like a thick treacle at the bottom. And basically all inside the pipes, this is going to be choked up, stopping the engine from getting diesel, hence why it's not running. So the main cause of bacterial infection in diesel is water in the fuel, and you might be wondering how the water's got there. In an old car, tractor, something like that, the most likely cause if it's been sat for a while is you're getting condensation in the tank because it's not full. That's then over time dropping down into your fuel, you get more condensation, that's dropping into the fuel, and over time you get this bacterial infection forming, and that is probably one of the worst things you get for your fuel system. It's going to clog everything up. In marine environment, you can get ingress from water on the outside, or just coming over your deck and you've got a crack in your deck, something like that for example, and so it's going to cause you a world of problems. So now that we know the causes, we'll talk about potential solutions if you do get it. So the best solution is obviously preventative. If you can prevent getting it in the first place, then that's the best, and I'll go on to how to prevent it later on in this video. But if you do get it on a car, a tractor, something like that, depending on the size of the fuel tank, I would say just get rid of the contents of the fuel tank, and most probably the fuel tank if you can find a spare one quite cheap. If it's a very common part and not too expensive, it's better to replace that. I put new fuel hoses, I either rebuilt the lift pump or get a new one depending on the price. Your cavity or the injection pump, you're going to have to rebuild that, clean that out, all out. And then your high pressure pipes up to the injectors, again either new or clean them. And then finally your injectors, you're going to want to clean them. And even then you're not going to get 100% of it all out. Hopefully you get a pack. And then you'd refit your new tank, new diesel, biocide inside it to kill it. And you're going to have to keep an eye on it. Heavily dosed with the biocide is quite expensive, but that's the only way you're going to make sure that it's not going to come back. Because if you've got traces of bacteria that you've missed whilst you're cleaning, for example, everyone knows that bacteria over time multiplies and multiplies and multiplies exponentially, and you might have it all new diesel, your engine's running fine, you park it up for a couple of weeks, and then you're going to find once again your whole system's clogged up. So if you're going to treat it, I'd say do it right the first time, heavy dose of biocide, and keep that up for a number of weeks. You want to be running it as much as possible, so you're changing out that diesel all the time, getting the fresh stuff in until you're sure that you've killed off all the bacteria. If you've got something a little bit bigger, like a ship, you might have a few tons in a tank. Let's say it's your service tank, or maybe even less in a canal boat, but even then it's, you know, too much for you to dump, and you're not going to take your tank out your canal boat or your motor yacht. And in that case you can get, for a medium size, you can get a company that will come and actually pump out the diesel from one tank into a shore tank. They can treat it there, circulate it, and put it back clean into your tank. Probably going to cost quite a bit, but what else can you really do? And of course you're going to have to clean all your pipes up to your engine, etc. And the same goes really for big marine diesels. You know, if you get bacterial infection in your diesel, you're going to have to clean the pipes out as much as possible. The filter is going to be clogged. Clean it out as best as possible, and then your fuel in that tank you might have to dump, refill with new fuel, I wouldn't really recommend trying to run it through the purifier because that bacteria is still going to be present. And yeah, that's the only way to really deal with it. And so on the big ships, once you've cleaned out your system, the way you're going to treat it is similar with the biocide, but you're also going to have more provision for heating up the diesel, especially if you've got intermediate fuel oil, heavy fuel oil. You can heat it up and that's going to help kill off the bacteria. Also, if you want to keep it circulating as much as possible, if that diesel's circulating around all the time, then the bacteria is not going to get a chance to form, and it's really going to help you out. There I'm sort of brushing on the subject of preventative maintenance, which we'll go into next. Okay, so last of all, how to prevent bacterial infection in your diesel. So if it's something like a car, truck, and you've got quite a small tank, beside the obvious of use it all the time, so you're constantly refreshing that diesel. If you know you're going to have it parked up for quite some time, I'm talking 1 year plus, especially in a climate like the UK where we get quite a lot of humid air, cold and hot, cold. Best thing you can do is keep the tank brimmed, or as close to brimmed as possible. If you have less volume for air in the tank, then you're going to get less water inside the air to be able to condensate, and that's going to really help out with not getting bacterial infection. Then moving up to the boats, ships, whatever you want to call them, stuff that have big enough tanks that you can go and do inspections. Then every year you want to be doing the inspections of the tank, check the condition, and if you see any growth starting to form, clean that up straight away. And then for everyday use, you want to make sure that you're definitely not getting any water ingress. That's obvious, paramount. And then 2 is you want to try and have heating on that tank if possible. At higher temperatures, the bacteria is not going to be able to form. And also if you keep it circulating as much as possible with circulation pumps running, then again you're not going to be getting given the chance for the bacteria to form. And what else have we got? Lastly, just keep using that diesel. You're reusing it, refilling it. You just don't want it sat in there for too long a time. And I think that's it. If you do get it, obviously the biocide, you can put biocide in even if you haven't got it at maybe a smaller concentration as a preventive maintenance. If you've got experience of that on a similar vessel or similar weather conditions, where inside these tanks you can get quite a large volume of air. But it's not a very common thing, but especially on the older diesel trucks that have been sat up a while, yes, but day-to-day running things, it's not something you're going to come across all the time. But hopefully this video's helped you out a bit. If you have any questions, I'm sure there's some things I've missed, but please feel free to leave a comment, send me an email, and like and subscribe. Thank you very much.